welcome to the second episode in our Chargezilla series. And it's been, 2.5 weeks, and I'm back right here at 101 Motors. And the guys here, Tony and the team, have been hard at work, actually preparing the truck, trying to get it to where we want to remove the body and the bed off the frame. Oh, you hear that? And here's their shop. And there it is. I see it. Yes. You think it's kind of rough? Is it cool?
I think it's cool. It's gonna be a fun build.
But yeah, we've got here a DC to DC converter. And so in a gas-powered car, you have an alternator. That's how you charge your 12-volt battery, right? But in an electric car, you don't have an alternator. So how do you get power to your 12-volt system? You do still keep your 12-volt system. And so this takes high voltage battery power and it steps it down in voltage to run the 12-volt system.
This is just one of the motors.
Just one of the motors.
Yeah.
Weighs about 130 pounds. And then you can see that this one is just single shaft. So it's gonna have one output shaft, and then the other motor is dual shaft. And so it's gonna end up mating together. There'll be a coupler clamped here, and they'll spin together.
And that goes to a reduction box we talked about, and then transfer case will be downstream.
To the drive shaft, yeah.
Okay.
You know, one thing, Andre, that I do like though, this has got a lot of room. We'll get this thing taken out.
Get the cab up in the air?
Yeah, I think on this project, Andre, I think we're gonna separate the cab and the bed from the frame, and just do it as a frame off.
So tell me about what's been going on with this truck.
We planned on taking the body and the bed off, so we pretty much have all the bolts and all the rusted bolts cut out and things like that to get the bed off. So that's staged and ready to go.
Okay.
A couple more challenges and stuff with more rusted bolts for the cab, but we've seemed to get pretty much almost all of them. We've got just a few more to go. Gas tank's drained, steering is disconnected.
The brakes are disconnected.
Yeah, brakes are disconnected. We've got selector for four-wheel drive disconnected. So we're pretty getting close to pulling this off and making it look like a chassis.
Will we see maybe some of the components come off?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll probably take the bed off next, and then we'll work a little bit longer, and then we'll stage it and get this cab off today.
All right, let's do it.
All right, hold it down. That one right there is. Oh, we lost the one. Right there.
Here's some of the work that the guys did. It's basically cutting off totally rusted bolts that are holding the bed and the body. Well, some of them came off, but some of them are super rusty. Like this.
You mean stuff like this?
This is the transfer case lever. It's got a few boogers on it, but it's gonna go back. It's gonna go back in the truck.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. You're the man.
I'm gonna unveil a beautiful frame, right?
All right, let's keep it coming.
I'm gonna unveil a beautiful frame.
All right, down.
Yeah?
Yep, perfect. Yep, just a couple shims.
Is this normal, guys?
Yeah, that is normal.
Okay, that's normal. Okay.
We'll replace them. Just a few more of them.
See, why are there coilovers in the back?
Well, it's a very interesting
Good question.
setup.
That is very interesting. Can't say I've seen that before.
Must be a helper shock.
Helper shock?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. And look, hey, it was green.
Yeah. That is green. Yeah, that's the speedo speedometer cable is going into the transfer case. We're going to have to remove that because that goes into the body. That is the brains behind the engine.
Is this the abacus or what?
Yeah, this is.
Hey, look, made in the USA.
Yeah, that's what stuff that was made in the USA.
Yeah.
Basically, there's going to be a spline shaft that comes down from the steering column into the gearbox. And we can't set, right now it's all bound up and it's just, it's been on there for 40-something years.
Try to turn it, Steven.
So we're trying to get the splines to release. So,
Okay, leave it.
Yep. In a normal car, this would come right off.
Okay,
Super.
but this is not normal.
Correct.
This is, technically, we don't know how old this truck is.
Yeah.
The body, part of it is 1965.
Right.
Other parts may not be.
Or whoever, maybe it was put on last.
Yeah.
And it was bound up and just kind of like, jammed on there. We don't know yet, but right now we're having a problem releasing it. We'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay, it's just a floor up here with a rubber seal.
Are you going somewhere?
I think you welded it on me.
No, I didn't touch it, I swear.
Oh?
Oh, keep going with that.
Yeah, keep doing that.
Keep doing that, because it's actually moving. Could it have like a detent that goes down over?
So the issue is, right, this is the steering shaft we're working with, and it just has a rubber boot through the firewall, basically. And it's just stuck, it doesn't want to come out. It looks like the firewall is really thin, right? There's not much there. I guess it's built for tough, huh?
Jeez, real screws back in the day. Okay, there's the hole.
Money.
We can put that screw back in. I was gonna say, I was like, how the hell are they gonna get these screws in there?
I'll let you finish the job. Now you should put it on and just pull it off gently.
There it goes. You got it.
Yep.
Sure got it this time. We got her, Rudy. Save for later. Yeah, all we're gonna do right now is we already removed the battery. Now we're gonna take the gear shifter out. And other than that, we're gonna try and start lifting this thing off.
Oh, there's eight. Yay.
Hey.
There we go. Oh. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the seat out so we can actually remove the gas tank. Be a lot easier not to do it while it's up on the hoist. Hopefully.
This is a new vehicle. It's going to concentrate on that floor right there.
Oh, finger.
Sorry, buddy. Your finger open?
No, it's fine. Oh, wow. A hatchet. Check that out.
Oh, that's a cool hatchet. We should reshape it and then polish it up, put it back in there.
It didn't work.
Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use the hoist to lift the cab off the chassis, but it's going to be a little tricky because of that steering shaft at that angle. We're probably going to have to lift and roll out the chassis from underneath it. Let's move the bucket. We'll just slide this thing forward, expose what we got, and we'll call it a wrap for the day. Well, we've got the body off. A little more work than we anticipated with this steering shaft not coming out of the gearbox. So that kind of threw us for a loop. So we had to take off a few more things that we anticipated. Slow us down a little bit, but in the end, it's off. So the next thing we're going to do is pull the motor, pull the transmission. We're going to leave the divorce transfer case in there. Then we're going to start cleaning up the frame and then start planning where to put the batteries and where to mount everything up. So that's going to be our next steps.
All right, I am back in Arizona at 101 Motors, and the guys here and also Legacy EV have been working very hard to disassemble Chargezilla R Ford F100. There it is. Hey Jake.
How you doing?
Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice seeing you.
What up, dude? So, it's a little bit different from the last time I saw it.
Yeah. Yep, it's in a few more pieces.
Yes.
Missing a couple things.
Of course, the big giant step, other than the cab and the bed coming off, is the engine and transmission are no longer here.
Nope. They're missing from this thing now. It's kind of a free open space to do with whatever we please. So this is only held in by 3 main mounting points, which this is your front one up here. There's just a rubber isolator that went in there with a bolt there, and then the rear actually it's kind of cool. So the bell housing is actually your rear engine mount for left and right, and it's what connects the trans and to the engine here. So I thought there was gonna be like a piece that went in there, but it isn't. It's all one piece, so it's kind of cool.
And then this is the transmission, and we are not reusing it.
Nope.
I mean, we're not going to be using the transmission with the electric motors.
Nope. We have a torque reduction box that we're going to hook up to our electric motors, and then that's going to go straight into the divorce T-case that was already in the vehicle.
So this is the stock suspension. Actually, well, this whole truck is a Frankenstein, because I mean it has heavy-duty axles. It's technically a 100 F100, but anyway, this is kind of a heavy-duty suspension.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-built suspension. It's got quite a bit of leaves in the packs here, and it's got like the older overload shock spring style deal that they had back in the day.
Yeah, not many people have seen this. I mean,
no, actually, back in Michigan, we had a leaf truck. It's old. It's a '78, and it had these exact shocks and springs in it, and it actually had two of them, so two going forward and two going to the rear.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah, it was a steak truck, like a flatbed steak bed.
Uh-huh.
And when we first got it, I was like, man, you know, what is going on back here? And they actually worked pretty well for what we were doing with it. And then we went to go get new ones, and I was like, man, these are pretty pricey. So we ended up getting better shocks for a cheaper price. But you know, we're gonna change the shocks out on this, and I don't think we're gonna do anything to the Leafs. We don't think we're gonna need to. I mean, they're in good shape. None of them are broken. You know,
Yeah.
they still work. So, and they're going to soak up the weight of the batteries that we put in here. So when we first pulled the engine out, we sat there and scraped a lot of the crud and you know, the oil leak that had been going on for however many years.
Where was that?
This whole
Everywhere?
yeah, pretty much. You can still see like some of it's kind of dark around here, and like in here it's kind of gritty still, but this was filled up with probably, you know, a quarter inch of just dirt and grime and grease and mud, and
Yeah.
so we scraped most of it off. You can see some of the marks, and we took it outside. We got a nice wash bay here, so we took it outside and hit it with a bunch of degreaser, and then we power washed it, and then we washed it again, then we put acid on it and power washed it. And so, but I mean, it cleaned up really, really nice. I mean,
It's
this
got some surface rust, but
no, I mean, it's
but-
not scaly. It's just, you know, like you said, it's just a little bit of surface rust, but paint will stick right to that. So our next step would be is we're gonna, we did some pre-planning and actually welded that motor tray together, and then we got our torque box in. We've got our motors sitting here. So this is our rear motor. This is our front motor. This motor is going to get connected to this other motor with these little couplers here. Then the torque box actually gets bolted to this adapter plate here that you have to cut. And then that goes to this goes to that, this goes out to the transfer case. So that's all going to sit in a line going straight into our transfer case. So this is actually our new power plant here.
And it's very low. It's sitting very low.
Yep. It's got to be, we got to have it into that input yoke as straight on as we possibly can to eliminate vibrations and any kind of binding. And we don't want to add any problems. We want to, you know, make sure we have no problems. So we got to make sure that's as straight as possible and in line with that transfer case. So
You were telling me about the battery fitment here.
yeah, so the rear battery box is, you know, we took the tape out, and I'm a big believer of, you know, taking measurements, you know, measure twice, cut once, and I like to take whether it's, you know, a manila cardstock folder or cardboard or whatever it may be, you know, something that's easy to work with, but you can trace out a template or whatever. And so I actually I copied that battery box with a piece of cardboard, a really nice thick one, and sat it on here and was just moving it around, you know, where's the best place for it to go. And where I found is actually right here. So what that means is this cross member can stay, but this one has to go. It's not going to go completely. We're going to actually move it forward. And the issue with is like I was explaining to you, is this is, you know, a cross member that holds your leafs on, so the frame doesn't twist here. It, you know, it adds a lot of strength and rigidity to the frame. So we got to add that back in without making a bar go across. And the other thing we got to do is add that back in without making our battery box our new support, because that's not what it was intended for. It's intended to hold batteries and not be a support.
Well, yes, of course it is quite sad to see the old 300 straight 6 sitting on a pallet here outside of the truck, Chargezilla. But I'm really hopeful, talking to Jake, Steven, and Tony and the team, and everybody from Legacy EV, I'm super excited because we're going to show you a little bit more detail of what's going to be happening inside the cab, because there's going to be new gauges, new ways of actually storing all the components. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up very, very soon. Ah, there's the truck. Take a look. Nice. Hey, Steven, thanks for helping.
Yeah, not a problem.
But that's like, what, 150 horsepower? Now you're getting your fancy tools out. Like a glove. Don't drop it.
Hopefully not. Oh, that was my finger.
I know, I did one on the back one on the front one. We actually gotta go in a little bit.
Oh, we gotta go up first.
So now the torque box is coming in.
Yeah, see, it's hanging down too low.
Does the motor need to be a little bit taller?
Well, this is hanging a little bit lower towards the pan.
Then we need
It
to.
was, yeah, then we mocked it up. So this is drooping a little bit.
Yeah. It's got some droop. All right, so now we can actually bolt the reduction box to the motor. Mm-hmm. Now we're in business.
That's pretty good.
So this is going to be a mid-engine truck,
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Tilt it forward.
So how's this going to be connecting there?
So there's a yoke that's going to have the same. It's going to look just like this, but on this side. And this is a slip yoke inside of here, so it'll slip in there. And they recommend only having a ½ inch of the slip yoke protruding out. So we're actually going to have to go forward just a hair.
And what about like the transmission tunnel? We're clearing all that stuff, right?
We're going
I
to
mean-
clear that by probably about 2 miles.
Because the floor is above here.
Yep.
Okay, so you're looking at the 2 battery boxes that will be underneath this project truck. This big one that kind of looks almost like a square is going to be under the hood. It's upside down now, basically, so you can imagine it flipped over under the hood. And this one is a separate battery that's going to live, like Jake was saying, where between the frame rails there maybe where a spare tire might go. So it should be a very, very nice installation, including, of course, all the cooling lines, all of the cooling lines that need to attach to these batteries. In just a few days, hopefully, I'll show you how this truck is coming together.
I can't give you diamonds or pearl. Hand on the moon and take you
so Maverick told me he's gonna bring the truck by the office and he's gonna drive it here from Golden, Colorado, which is about 30 miles. So, oh, here he comes. He kind of snuck up on me. I was expecting, well, some noise, but listen, there's almost no noise. Hey, dude! Nice. I see the headlights are on. Were you using your wipers there?
I was, yeah.
Show me.
They're working.
Well, but passenger one needs to be replaced. I'll do that.
We might need some new blades.
Dude, it's so awesome to see this.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to drive.
So you drove here from Golden.
Yeah.
Which is about, what, 30 miles away?
Yeah. And I did a little putzing around town too, so I put 40 miles on it in the last 2 days.
Okay.
We're at 59.6 kilowatt hours out of 78. So we've used 20-ish, a little less, 19.
Well, we'll do more like deep dives into it, but show me around the truck. This is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll scoot back a little bit so you can see inside the truck.
Okay.
But here we've got our dilithium battery management display right here. And so this is showing us our kilowatt hour capacity, our current voltage level for the whole pack, our current amp draw, and then our current kilowatt output. And then down here we've got our cell level voltage. So these cells are 4.2 volts when they're peak power, and they're 3 when they're fully drained, when they won't be powering anymore. So right now we're sitting at about 3.667 volts. And then yeah, we got some other screens here. So now you can see we've got the, what did we say, 5S 3P battery module pack. So here are the 3 in parallel, and then you can see all of the individual cells in each module there, lit up green, showing us they're all in good health.
That's very simple, nice and easy.
Yeah, and then we've got our drive mode selector switch here. So park, that's that electric solenoid that makes the cable actuated parking pole active. So we're sitting in park, we're not rolling around. Reverse, and then drive. And then we've got our motor window here, where you can actually, see your coupled shaft right there. So when we drive, you can see it spin, which is awesome. High voltage cable. We got a little hose for coolant flying through right here.
We can see a lot. You can see, I mean, the different levels, like inside the C-channel frame, all the high voltage wires. You can see the motors. I love that. I love that 101 Motors, you know, went the extra mile and actually put some nice touches on this.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love that you can see the motors. It just adds that extra pop.
All right, let's pop the hood.
Let's do it.
Well, this is still a 1965 Ford F100 body.
Yep.
With a double hood latch, right?
Yep.
Okay, there it is. So here you can see the bigger battery module. You could see, what are those things?
Yeah, so we've got our SMEX1 controllers there, and our contactors and our high voltage fuses all in one spot. So there is a plexiglass cover that goes over all this, but for show and tell today it's not on there.
Yeah.
But you won't want to touch any of that, so there'll be a plexiglass cover over it.
No touching.
Yep.
Here's also the coolant loop for the batteries, right? And the radiator is somewhere below.
Yep, down below. And then you've got, I think this is a little burp tank for the torque box. So any extra fluid that starts bubbling up when it gets hot, it'll come into that like reservoir.
Okay.
So it doesn't leak.
And the torque box is the reduction box that's right behind the final motor before it goes into the divorce transfer case.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And then from this angle too, you can actually see your DC to DC converter. So that's like what we were talking about earlier, that replaces the alternator in the truck. So how do you get power to your 12 volt system when you don't have
Is it down here?
Yep, that's it, right down there.
And of course, hydraulic brakes are here.
Yeah.
Even though it has regen, we must have brakes.
Yep.
To finally stop.
Yep.
And everything else is super clean, dude. I think they rewired the entire truck.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, the lights, all the accessories. This did not have a power steering pump. This did not have AC.
Yep.
When we got the truck, so those elements are not here, but everything else is nice and clean. And I can't believe how clean the frame is, dude. because I mean they cleaned it, they painted all the components. Fox provided the shocks for this build, which is pretty amazing. That's another episode altogether.
Yeah. And then you can see the radiator down here, Andre, under the front pack. And the other cool thing about this pack is this is the same pack that we use for the Bronco conversions for our customers. So fits in the F100, fits in the Bronco.
Let me point to that. Okay, so there's some fans right here, and a smallish radiator, and that's for the batteries, correct?
Yep.
And also all the components, you can see kind of the cradle, the motor cradle, all the components, all the wiring is quite a bit higher, almost within the plane of the frame itself. So this truck, if it does go off-road, when it does, all those components are protected really well. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
I love this, dude, because we talked about it with Tony and team and Steven at the 101 Motors. They reused the fuel cap was here because the tank was behind the seat.
Yep.
Now we have a charger port. So this is like level 2 capable.
Yeah.
Tell me about charging a little bit, the number.
Yeah, J1772, that's like the level 2 standard. Then there's also like CCS and Chatamo. But this is, level 2 standard charging. So pretty much anywhere in the US, level 2, you can plug in right there.
Yeah, which means 6 kilowatts. It's capable because it's got 2 charger modules.
Yeah.
So 6 kilowatts. You can wire your house pretty easily. So I have 7.2 kilowatt system in my house, running off the basically 240 volt circuit.
Yeah.
So you can charge this puppy at home all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
So behind the seat in this area where the original fuel tank was, it was right there with the people. Now it's gone. You can see some high voltage cables. You can see another little panel over there in the middle. And this truck used to be green. If you're wondering what this truck almost looks like the Forest Service green that somebody eventually painted orange. So I think it's pretty appropriate for this project.
Yeah, high voltage.
High voltage. So now let's look underneath here. So this is the second battery pack. This is a 5 module one. The 10 module is underneath the hood. And once again, this is where the spare tire would have been on the truck like this, but now we're using the space, so we did not intrude into the bed at all.
Right. Yeah, we were able to keep the bed fully intact, all of the interior of the vehicle, which is something that we want to do on all our builds. We like to keep it as stock as can be. Yeah, so here you go, Andre.
Thank you. So it's been a few months since I saw the truck last.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is amazing. My first impression, at least looking at it, is awesome. I can't believe this. But also, I want to drive it. So stay tuned. When it stops raining, I want to take it further around town tomorrow.
Right.
So coming up, my first test drive. Well, there we have it. Chargezilla is now at Tumbleweed Ranch. Fox guys are working on the shocks and they're removed. So can you tell me about the shocks we're using? These are 2.5s, right?
Yeah, correct. These are 2.5 monotube. So Fox has internal bypass and then monotube style shocks.
So what'd you guys do to make the shocks a little bit softer?
So yeah, we wanted the compression to be a little bit softer. So this shock has a dual stage stack in it. So what we did was lightened up that first stage. So the slow to mid-speed impacts are less force into the shock.
You holding it?
Yep.